Hi everyone. Today we're going to be going through Tinkercad and Among Us character. Um, so to quickly recap the last class, we used Tinkercad to open a file. We used our scroll wheel to zoom in and out. We held down our scroll wheel to move our camera from left to right and up and down. And then we used the right button on our mouse to look around. And then we dragged in a cube from our side panel and brought that into our workspace. So to show me how much you've learned, I want you to put an orange cube in the back left corner of our workspace that you're going to upload. Okay, so here we have our Among Us characters. We can see all the colors of them, just like these ones. I think these are actually clay, but the ones we make are actually 3D printable. Mr. Watchorn has the 3D printers working in the construction room, or the technology room, pardon me, and I'm sure he'd be happy to help you show you how to 3D print these. So we have our imposter and our keywords for today. So our keywords are to duplicate, group, and align. These are all our new words for the software we haven't come across before. So to duplicate, group, and align. So our learning intentions are also to be able to duplicate, group, and align. And I'm going to be asking you to give me step-by-step instructions on how to duplicate, how to group, and how to align two objects. So at the end of the lesson, make sure you're able to list all the steps. There's only 3 or 4 steps to be able to do each of these. And our commands for each. So to duplicate, we have Control D, so you hold down Control, which is on the bottom left hand side of the keyboard, and D. To group, we use Control and G, so Control again, bottom left, and G. And to align is L. So we don't have to hold down Control this time, we just click L and it'll automatically open up our aligning feature. Okay, so we can see here the models that we're going to be making today. These are the Among Us characters, of course. So we have an orange and we have a light blue here. And these are very simple to recreate once we have one made. So I'll show you that at the end. So we have opened up our file, our new file. Up here is our name, so we can change the name to Among Us. It just gives you a random one every time you load up a new file. So I'm going to start off by putting my orange cube right at the back of my workspace and making it orange. And next, what we are going to do is we're going to start off with our body. So we want a cylinder and we want a sphere. Okay. Our first new learning for today is to select the two of these. So I'm going to hold down my left mouse button, drag it over and create in a box and select the two of them. Another way of doing this, if I just want to unselect these, I can click off them. Just click anywhere other than these objects. I can click one to select it. You can see the blue glow around it. I can hold down Shift and I can click the other one and that will select both of them. So what I want to do now is I want to align these. So to align them, I can click L or I can click Align up here. See the green L? That's just your command. So I'm going to click Align. I want them aligned in the center this way, and if I look around, I want them aligned this way as well. So width and thickness. Now we want to select our cylinder. I'm just going to move in this tree. We want to drag it by our top arrow up, so we can select the height from the ground to the bottom of the cylinder. I want this to be 10. Our bottom cylinder or sphere is 20 in all directions. So it's 20 diameter. So if we move up 10, it's going to be halfway. So to go through that again, if I just want to go back, we're going to select our two objects, click L, we want to align them this way, and they're not centered at the back, so we want to align them there as well. We can unclick them, unselect them, select the cylinder on its own, and drag it up. Dimension from the ground of the workspace up to the bottom is going to be 10 mil. 10. There we go. Next, I'm just going to select this shape. I'm going to make just the sides up all the way just to make it more smoother. And I'm going to select my sphere on the bottom, and I'm going to duplicate it. So duplicate feature is on the top left, Control D. So I'm going to hit Control and D, and now nothing really here has happened, we can see, but if we drag up our ball, we can see there's another one. So we can drag it up 20, or we can change this if we need to. So as you can see, we have our body starting to form. So our next step is to start the legs. So I'm going to select the cylinder and the bottom sphere. I'm going to duplicate them. So I actually have these guys to use. Control D. I'm going to drag it over to one side. Now what we want to do is we want to hold down Shift. So I was saying last time, instead of Control, Shift is used a lot when you're selecting things in this. So if we hold down Shift, drag the corner and select one of these sides, make it 10. That should make all of the sides 10. And if we want to change the height of it, we have this white box here. We can click on that. We're going to change that to 13.5 mil. Click enter and it'll change. Our next job to do is to group these. So grouping is a new feature for us as well. So to do that is Control G, or this lad up here. So group, and there's ungroup here, which go together. So we're going to group these, and as you can see now, group is unhighlighted and to ungroup is highlighted. So we can ungroup them as well, and it'll go back to two separate objects. But we're going to keep these grouped. We're going to duplicate it with Control D. I'm going to use my arrow keys to move this, so I'm moving it to the right because I'm just going to click home here. So I'm moving it to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm just going to move it over till it's just outside, or it's just on the outside of the leg there, and I'm going to move it over so it's just touching it there. So 1, 2 clicks over will do it, and we're going to highlight the two of these objects, and we're going to group them as well. So these, if I touch these and move it, they'll move together. Next is on to dimensioning our body. So we know that minions, the characters, I keep calling them minions, they're not minions. Among Us characters aren't actually just spheres, or just pods like this. So we want to make it look right. So to do this, we're going to group the two spheres and the cylinder. Control D, or Control G. Control G. We're going to change the dimension on it. So if I'm looking at the workspace here, so if I go home, looking at the workspace down the bottom left, if If I click on this black box at the front, it's going to change the thickness. So I'm going to change the thickness of it to 16 mil. I'm going to change the width of it to 24 mil, and I'm going to change the height to 29 mil. So I do that, but just by clicking the box, or you can click it and drag it, and that'll bring up the this as well. So I'm quickly going to zoom in here now and show you how it's changed. It's not perfectly round anymore. Now I'm going to move it upwards, so I'm going to drag it by the top arrow here, up. Select the distance from the ground up, and it's going to be 9 mil off the ground. What we can do now is we can select, hold down shift, select our legs and our base, or our body. We're going to align them, so align here, or press L and merge them in the center, and center for thickness as well. Now we have our body and our legs lined up. If I let's say made a mistake and you clicked all of these, so you have these two done and you've done this one as well, you can just undo it up here on the top and try it again. So next is excuse me, is our face shield and backpack, I believe is what's left on it. So our face shield, we're going to select our body, we're going to hit Control D to duplicate, or up here in the top left. I'm going to use my arrow key and move him towards me. So I'm going to move him 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't have to be specific, you can just drag him out. I'm going to change the dimensions on him now. This is going to be our face shield, the body is at the back. So I'm going to change the width of it to 16. I'm going to change the thickness to 10 and the height to 11. So the height is 11 mil. Now we can see it's kind of small, it's inside the face or the body. I'm going to just change the color, so I'm going to make sure I have the face shield, the smaller part, selected. I'm just going to change it to white or grey to make it stand out more from the body and to make it look right, because that's the color that the faces are. Now I'm going to select the face shield and I'm going to hold down shift and select the body. So I have the face shield and the body selected, not the legs. I'm going to click align, or click L for align. I'm going to click on the body. So I'm clicking on the body, and that is going to make the body the master. So when the body is the master, it's going to move the face shield to the body and not move them all together into the center of the two of them. So it won't move the body, it'll just move the face shield around the body. So I want it to be in the center, and I want it to be in the center in the front as well. I don't think that looks too bad, but if yours is different, I'm just going to, let's say, put it in all the way, so we have it centered. I'm going to click, bring it out. It's just protruding there. I'm going to bring it out 1, 2, 3 clicks of my arrow key. Should bring it out just enough that it looks right. Our final step for this now is our backpack, or jetpack, of course. So we are going to use our Control D again. We're going to select the body, hold down Control D. We're going to move to our home and move it backwards to just outside the body so we can see it. Now for dimensioning the backpack, because it's not, that looks like a very big backpack. So our backpack is 16mm height, so I can select our top here, our white box, click on this guy, click on the dimension and make it 16mm. Oops. So our width, which is moving along the front of our workpiece, is going to be 12. Oops. 12, and the thickness is going to be 10, same as the other one. So now I'm going to align this with our body again. So hold down Shift and select the body, press L to align it. We want it in this. Remember to select the body as the master and click the center height wise. This will just put it in the center of the body, and we also want it in the middle of his back as well. Okay, unselect that, and he looks pretty good. I might just move the backpack out another touch or two, just using my arrow keys, and I'm quite happy with him. So now I'm going to select all of them. Just going to unselect that cube at the back, and I'm going to hit Control D again, Control D. To duplicate the whole character, I'm going to pull him out to one side. I'm going to group him. This will give us, this guy's red just because it's loading, it's saving. Changing it all to 1. I'm going to select it. Instead of being solid, I'm going to make it multicolored, which will let us have each part as a different color if we want to. It just lets us have our face shield white instead. So we can go back and make whatever you like. I'm going to go green because I haven't made one yet. And don't forget about your jetpack or your backpack. And greens. Oops. Trying to move. Now we have our two minions after been made, two different colors, both the exact same. We have our recap block in the back just to show that we can bring in parts. And I quite like them. And remember, these guys are 3D printable, so you can export it to a 3D print file. And remember, you can send it to each other and to me. You need to send it to me for the assessment. So I open send to, scroll all the way down to the bottom, click invite people, generate a link, and copy the link. And then go into the assessment and just paste the link into that. Okay, so don't forget you also have to answer the questions in the assessment. So you have to be able to list or give the step-by-step instructions on how to duplicate, on how to group, and how to align. So how to group something, you have to select both objects, press group or Control G for group, and these two things become one. Duplicate, select the object, press Control D or duplicate in the top left here and drag it off of the object, like so. And then to align, we just select both objects, click L for align, or the align button here on the top right. Something went wrong there. Align, and we can line them up whichever way. So now what you have to do, guys, is to go through. You've either done two things. You've watched this whole video all the way through and are going now to make your character, or you've made the character step by step along with the video, or maybe both. So either way, you have to go now and write out how to, step by step, how to group two objects, how to duplicate an object, and to align two objects, or more than two objects. And post that into the assessment page along with your link to your work plan or your file. So we have gone through we have learned how to group, we've learned how to duplicate, we've duplicated all of the parts off of our main body, we've aligned everything, and everything is grouped up other than, I think, this guy. I'm just going to unselect that and group him just to make sure he's all grouped up. Oh, yeah, shape, multicolor. Oh, so thanks a million.